All right, it's another beautiful Monday in the capital city of Nigeria and seat of government. The program is The Conversation. You know how it is. The maiden edition was last week, and today, all right, is the second edition of the program, The Conversation. And this program is actually designed to bring to you issues behind the scene on practically everything that concerns everything about Nigeria. Our growth, development, we're looking at security, we're going to be looking at agriculture, we're going to be looking at governance, good governance, and we're going to be looking at so many things, health. So it's a potpourri of so many things that concerns us as a people. My name is Salihu Ibrahim Kindo. I am your host. Now, this afternoon, I've got very distinguished gentlemen, knowledgeable, highly knowledgeable gentlemen in the studios with me. But you know how we do it. We'll take a break. When we come back, you will meet my guest. Don't go away. The program is The Conversation. Good afternoon. All right, welcome back. If you're just tuning in, you've not missed at all. The program is The Conversation. This is a program where we discuss national issues, where we discuss international issues, where we don't only discuss, we analyze, and we analyze constructively and see how we can also provide solutions to some of the problems that bedevil this country. I told you that I have two very distinguished personalities in the studios with me. The first person that you'll be meeting is a retired general, a retired major general who is not tired, and he's held serious command appointments in the Nigerian Army. He was Chief of Standard and Chief of Army Standard and Evaluation. That's what they call CASE. He was also Commandant of the Martin Luther Agway Peacekeeping and Leadership and Peacekeeping Center in Jaji. And serious command appointments. He's been in Liberia, he's been in so many places that you get to know. And there's a reason why we actually asked him to come back, and we're happy that he's here. The other guest is someone that you've seen the face, but let me introduce Major General James Alilu Ataguba. General, good afternoon and welcome.
Very good afternoon, viewers. Good afternoon, Kindo.
All right, it's nice to have you here.
My pleasure, too.
Kinu Aaron Kabirwa, Chief Kinu Aaron Kabirwa, is a public affairs analyst, is a media guru. Yeah, he wears a lot of caps, so many caps. He's a media guru, he's a builder. He's also a security consultant. My dear brother, Kinu Kabirwa, good afternoon and welcome.
Good afternoon, SI. We're calling SI. Good afternoon, viewers. Welcome to The Conversation.
All right. Like I said, the program is a potpourri of so many things, that will make this country grow. So the idea is to look at the problems, analyze the problems, discuss the problem, and provide solutions. So my guests are not armchair critics. They are people who are coming with solutions. That is it. General, let me start with you. You've held several command appointments. You were in Liberia. You were in Sierra Leone. as a young officer up until, and then of course you were in the UN, you know, and you guys fixed Liberia. You fixed Sierra Leone. Why can't we fix Nigeria, for crying out loud? With the crisis that we are having in the country right now, we have the Boko Haram on one side, we have you know, kidnappers and the rest of them, we have farmer header crisis on, and so many, all manner of things. And then of course the new crazy addition is the one that our children are, you know, blowing the thing beyond, you know, the boundaries of this country, and that is the Yahoo and Yahoo Plus, where they kill people. And it's like, well, that is how it's supposed to be. We were not brought up like this. Where did we get it wrong? Why are we not getting it right?
Thank you so very much for, you know, how many questions rolled into one. In all honesty, I feel pained at what is happening, because from our youthful days, things have never been like this. If you ask me, I'll say Nigeria has retrogressed over time, and a couple of things are responsible. One is lack of justice.
Okay.
Any clime where there is no justice, there can't be peace.
Okay.
Two, impunity at its peak. I'm not saying highest, at its peak.
At its peak?
At its peak.
All right.
That is what we are seeing in this country. And unfortunately, we seem to be dancing around the solution and not consciously trying to ensure these things are done. Now, what do I mean by that? The solutions are not far-fetched.
Okay.
You talk of kidnapping, you talk of insurgency, you talk of whatever. Let me first start by honestly praising the armed forces of Nigeria.
Okay.
They've done exceptionally well. But you see, they need to be complemented by other factors in the country. The secondary role of the armed forces of Nigeria, secondary role, is what they are doing now.
Okay.
You know, support to the government on internal security. But whose primary role is it to deal with the situation we are talking about? What has happened to them? So we need to take a deeper look at other security agencies and why they are unable to perform their role. Now, if you check, the armed forces have been made to do, in fact, they are virtually everywhere in the country, every nook and cranny of this country. Everywhere you see them in roadblock, patrols, whatever. I'm not saying the other security agencies are not doing enough, but they need to up their game if we are going to nip the insecurity that is confronting this this country in the bud.
Okay. All right. General, I'll get back to you, because again, there are also all issues of logistics, and a lot of people have also blamed the military for so many things. You know, that the long years of the military has also affected, you know, the workings and the other. It's an overflogged, you know, it has almost become a cliche. But then we'll get back to you. Let me talk to Kinu. You know, you've done a lot of things. I know you've done a lot of studies with the farmer header crisis. You've also looked at the issue of insurgency. We've discussed this thing a long time. And well, here we are in the front burner of national TV and national discourse. I don't know if you agree with the general.
Well, I totally agree with him when, first and foremost, the question he asks is fixing Nigeria's security situation and the role of the military.
Yeah.
But I want to approach it from a different angle.
Okay.
I mean, first and foremost, there's a saying that we know that says when the foundation is faulty, there's nothing anybody can do. What can the righteous do?
Okay.
And all of that. But I want to look at this from the fact that, look, we're kind of away from the value system that has turned everything upside down in this country.
Okay.
And because we are citizens, we are Nigerians, we're here, we have a foundation. The foundation, I'm not even talking about constitutional foundation. I'm talking about the value system, the human factor, first and foremost.
Yeah.
First, we are humans, we are Nigerians, we live here, we eat here, our citizenship is in this country here. But what is the operating system? What's the value system that is running us? That's what leads to corruption. That was what has led to literally all the, what we're seeing now is a manifestation of the decadence in the value system, or where it has already gone sour and bad. So what we're literally getting today, the offshoots now down to security, down to bad governance, down to, like we used to say here, you know, when even at the turn, and when we're talking about democracy, when people didn't believe in it at the beginning of, at the turn of that democracy. And so we had, in quotes, criminals, I don't know if that's the right word to use, if I can use it on television, people who didn't believe, the good people refused to participate, and so the so-called bad people jumped into it. They have enough resources, and they are thwarting things upside down, and they are in all sectors of the economy and the governance in this country. So first, I want to approach it from a value system angle. Can it be handled? Can it be dealt with? How can this be fixed here? If you don't go back to the foundation, if you don't go back to what we, like the general said here, it's painful for us to sit back here. We're all not young any longer here. Maybe we're all in our 60s, but somehow, any which way you get to that. But go back in the 50s, go back to early 60s and co today. We're not that poles apart. Our attitude, our behavior, our education, our religious sentiments, all of that, you can put them in one box here. It's a whole major issue. And so what we're having today affecting the security of this nation is a manifestation of those little things that were thrown away.
So basically what you're saying is that the value system has gone bonkers.
Bonkers.
Okay, it's not what we were brought up.
No, it's not.
Not the way we were brought up.
Yes, yes.
I like that. And Jonah, let me come back to you, because I like the fact that, you know, you were in the thick of the situation in Liberia. You were a young officer, a second lieutenant or captain when you went to Liberia. And you also suffered severe injury in Liberia, you know. You had to be evacuated to Nigeria and all that, you know. Great, thankfully, you know. And then you've seen it. And then you were also in Sierra Leone. All your life is like, it's the war, the theater of war and all that. And then you were also in the Northeast, where the place was really the theater of war. But you said something, that is not really the primary function. We know that the military is expected to, what do you call it, defend Nigeria against external aggression, and sometimes internal insurrection when it is really, really bad. Now let's get back to, you know, the core functions of the military, because we've seen situations where this gallant army, the gallant Air Force, the gallant security agencies that we have, would you see them take off, you know, in the face of real crisis? Is it that we don't have enough weapons, or is it that the people are not well trained, or is it that, you know, the recruitment process into the armed forces or into our security system is also faulty?
I'll say thank you for that question. I will disagree with you to an extent if we attribute whatever is happening now to probably training, equipment, and the rest.
Okay.
Because why did I say that? The enemy, what are they equipped with vis-a-vis what the regular army is equipped with? But you see, there are certain aspects that we have been getting wrong. I have mentioned impunity, the reward system, reward and punishment system. You go, you are able to overcome an enemy. In the process, you have arrested, let's say, 30, 40, 50, 100. And at the end of the day, there are no repercussions on these guys. Tomorrow, the same guys are recycled. You find yourself engaging them again. There's nothing that lowers morale like such a thing. You understand? And then, how many people can you kill? How many of the insurgents? So, while the army is actively involved in the kinetic aspect of it, there's also supposed to be the soft power. What exactly led, in the first place, to this problem we're having? Poverty, hunger in the land. Are these being addressed? Check what is happening now. The income generation capacity of the government has almost tripled. The governors are getting far more, triple what they were getting before. Has it translated to infrastructures on the ground? The schools he mentioned, they are still in dilapidated state. So, these things need to be addressed holistically.
Okay.
So it's not about the military training and the rest.
Okay.
Because when you eventually take Borno State, for instance, you are able to clear one axis today. Who takes over? Because you cannot hold the entire length and breadth of Northeast.
Yeah.
So when governance itself has virtually collapsed, what happens? And I keep saying it, the greatest threat to the corporate existence of this country remains the politicians themselves.
Okay.
Until they check their excesses. For God's sake, somebody is looting what he does not need. His second and third generation do not need.
With the thing that he has. That's primitive accumulation.
Exactly. So, and these are issues that we need to address. Now, let's quickly come to one other area that has been neglected.
Okay.
Have you realized that when an average Nigerian lives here and goes to US, Canada, UK, name it, he becomes a refined citizen?
Oh, he performs very well.
So what has happened to the same Nigerian
in Nigeria?
In Nigeria.
Yeah.
What has happened is weak institutions.
Okay.
If you have weak institutions, tell me, if you start executing kidnappers today, in the next 1-2 months, will you hear of kidnapping? Even if you hear of it, yeah, it's recognized.
Okay.
In the US, there are states where people are still being executed, especially when you commit capital offenses. So when you have issues that are going off hand this way, you need to be resolute to nip it in the bud.
Okay.
So it's not about isolating the armed forces and so, oh, they are losing, they've been equipped. No, there's an extent to which they can achieve their aim.
Okay.
The other aspect of governance needs to take over.
Okay.
And checkmate some of these incidents.
All right, General, just hold it there. Let me talk to Kino. You know, General has said something about the reward system. You know, it's like the carrot and stick, or you know, shame and name, so to speak. You know, where people are arrested, and then you know all manner of people just come in. You know, you have the civil rights activists. Once you grab them, they tell you, you know, you must take the and of course, we know very well that the process here it's quite long. You take the person to court, the person goes. It's a very long process, and then eventually the person is released, and he comes back and he looks at you straight in the face. No, this is somebody that actually murdered Nigerians. You know, in the most gruesome manner. You lie somebody and you slaughter the person. That is really barbaric, and it's like we're using soft. We're praising the people for saying thank you very much for murdering Nigerians. You guys can go back. We've rehabilitated you. You can go back. What do you think?
This is a very good and a pregnant question, and I agree with General here. Nigerian armed forces have been, they have a reputation of being very, very good international and everywhere. So I mean, just to agree with him now, we can't say there's an issue of training and all of that. My dad was a retired soldier, another rank for that matter. And so he has also been around. But everywhere they went to, even most recently when I saw a parade in Edinburgh, they came up tops there.
That's
so if it's about training, discipline, I mean, I don't think anyone can come close to that. Nigerian armed forces are well trained, and even the police. But then, getting back to the core, the crux of the matter that we're talking about here, General started by saying we're talking about justice, and then I agree to the fact that he's broadening it to the reward system here. And if we have to bring this thing to the table, to the bear now, we want to call a spade here. Let's go back to all the cleavages of those crises we're having. Today we have an Nnamdi Kanu somewhere in the courts here, and Ekpa somewhere far from in Finland that they just dealt with him over there. We're celebrating here. Now nepotism, tribalism, religious comes into play here. When you touch this angle, that's why I totally agree with the reward system. But you see, that's why I still come back to dysfunctionality of the so-called judicial system that we have in place. Even electorally, if you come back here, if I'm Lunguda by tribe from Adamawa State, and so to say, you get your chief judge or whoever sits at the helm of affairs here, first he brings his tribal stuff. I heard one popular story from a religious circle here, that a particular sect in this country during one of those elections said we are first and foremost Yorubas before we are Nigerians. So we give priority first and foremost everywhere that is Yoruba or we're coming from, or I'm first and foremost a Lunguda man from there. I still come back to value system. The nation with the sincerity of purpose that it affects everything, whether it's promotion. So that thing dovetails to down to the issue we're talking about, the reward system here.
Okay.
Even those that are supposed to be rewarded well, let's even keep that aside from those that have been caught red-handed and all of that.
Yeah.
And sometimes there are people in our courts, in our systems today that have been there for thousands of years, hundreds of years or whatever number of years in the prisons, no judgment, nothing. But the point we're making here, and I think I want to agree to this fact, is that if you're talking about insecurity, brother, I don't know where, it's not as if we don't know what the issues are, but how do we deal with this issue? Because when you have the head who sits there, and like they say, the head, Nigeria is something else. It's as if it's bigger and larger than anybody still in that place. The intrigues and the politics, the sectionalism, the approaches, these people bring their sentiments and they affect the decision you make. It goes to, I mean, look at the Pengasin today and the Dangote and all of that. We're still coming down to the reward system. Sentiments, groups coming together for their personal interest, no sincerity or purpose. So that has delved into the security issues, the reward system, and every other system we're coming from. Are we sincere to ourselves? Are we saying we don't know what the issues are? Are we ready to confront this issue? When your own gets there, then you protect him. When your own is not there, you attack the other one.
All right. So, basically in Nigeria, our thief is our thief.
Yes.
So you can actually go loot, do anything you want to do, but you're our own. So once you're our own, nothing happens to you, because that's when people begin to say, no, you can't touch them, because, we should grant amnesty to this, because we granted amnesty to this particular, and because this person is from this particular ethnic group, you cannot fight this person because this is our brother and things like that. It affects
promotion, but all sectors everywhere.
General, let me come back to you, because you've said a lot of things here, you said we can't kill everybody, and I agree with you. But then I'm bothered about, the recruitment process for the security architecture, the entire security architecture, which cuts across the armed forces, Secret Service, and whatever, because you also have the concept of something that people try to run away from, and that is the function of the fifth columnist in every organization. Because sometimes the army comes out, or the armed forces, or the entire security architecture comes out with something, a foolproof plan to attack these people. And they're there. And somewhere along the line, information gets to these people, or they ambush our people. I don't understand how they succeed. Who is the person that is giving them information that people are coming? Because most of these operations are actually, covert operations. So how do they get to know that our people are coming, and how do we get, attacked like that? Because you have been there.
Thank you so very much. I'm sure it's in the public domain. You heard recently that some soldiers were sentenced to life imprisonment.
Yes.
For giving arms or compromising the whole process. That is it. Deterrence.
Okay.
I remember vividly when we were in Nekomog in Liberia, some officers and soldiers were shot. They were court-martialed and shot in the theater. There are offenses in the Armed Forces Act, and the punishment is prescribed there. So if you go by that, there will be sanity in the land.
Okay.
You see, I try as much as possible not to limit it to the army, because whatever is happening in the army, the people in the army are Nigerians.
Of course.
Society.
Of course.
Yeah. So sometimes the military itself is constrained. When the political masters are insisting on certain things, there's a limit to which you can say no.
Okay.
So solve the problem of Nigeria, you have solved the problem of the military.
Okay.
Because it is one and the same. Now, I'll tell you, at some point in time, I think last year or thereabout, out of frustration, I was forced to write a letter to the administration of the federal capital. And what was I highlighting in the letter? For God's sake, what we are doing in Nigeria, same is done in other climes. I went to Rwanda. They use bike for commercial purposes.
Okay.
That's what we popularly call Okada.
Yes.
In Rwanda, you can't carry more than 2.
Okay.
You must wear your helmet. Are we saying our officials in Nigeria don't know that?
Okay.
Now, when you go out, check. There's not a single Okada that is licensed. It doesn't have a license plate. And we are deceiving ourselves that we are trying to fight insecurity. If the man commits an offense, how do you track him down?
Okay.
Since the machine
number
is not licensed.
It's not licensed.
What it means in senior crime is that he has no business even being on the road.
Okay.
But here we are. All of them, go and check. They don't have rear mirror. They are not licensed. The other one, keke napep, popularly called keke napep, the tricycle.
Yeah.
The same. You see chaos on the road.
Okay.
You, the driver, you are the one that strive to ensure you don't hit them because they believe in mob justice.
Yeah, mob action.
Do you understand? So the truth is that until we come to terms and begin to rebuild our institution, we will continue to grope in darkness.
Okay.
That is my fair assertion.
Okay. All right, General, let me come back to Kino. This thing about mob action is all over the place, and the guys are very unruly, and this thing about something happens, everybody, as if it's like a whistle, they just blow and everybody is there, and they take laws into their hands and things like that. But he just said something that is very strategic, and that has to do with registration, because if you don't have database of these people, you don't have a database, and every day they ask us to go and do NIM. The road safety has so much about you, VIO has a lot about like that. And then, again, we're still saying we don't have a database of these people. What do you think?
We can go on and on and on. Thank you. This question is very, very important to address. But again, like I always will say, we need to go back to the foundation. Okay. And I mentioned something called sincerity of purpose. Okay. And I can also agree with what General has said here. I'll give you 1, 2, 3 before we get to the mob action stuff. Now you see these guys coming to town with nothing, no address, on trailer, and they're down in Guarimpa. Okay. The next day, they are babambolas. Remember we did something on security, of course, scavengers and security, and all of that. Exactly. And so they're babambolas. They walk around premises, compound, steal what they steal, sell what they sell, vandalize everything. Then the next they have keke napep. Wow. It's a transition. It's a transition. Yeah. And guess what? They have people who buy these tricycles and give them. And they return to, because how much is one going for today? Yeah. But they are not checked. And that's why I'm agreeing here. The system understands this stuff. Yes, the NFIs tried at a point in time, they drove away all the Okada, the buy guys. But you see, apart from blaming just the government, let's get back to even the citizenry today, and that's why I'm coming to the mob action stuff. Yeah. There's something there's a large gap, I can attribute it to poverty, between the poor and the rich. Now, if you drive a fine car, automatically society sees you like thief. So this one is another opposite, and another flip side to this discussion here. So there's this, because of poverty and hunger, there's a deep-seated bitterness and anger towards a big divide between the rich and the poor. So you should not wear a good perfume, you are a thief. You can't dress well, General did that, General is a thief, you can't buy any car, whether or not. So that is a major issue. How do you handle that? Now we have the place of our orientation, whether religious houses, churches, and all of that. In fact, go to those places as well. The worst is when it operates there. The divide is very large. So where do we start from? That's why I say come back to the value system. We've lost it somehow, but honestly speaking, that mob action stuff, it's if you pass through Pape today and you're getting there now, once there's a bike or you touch a bike and you're the one driving the car, they don't care who is at fault. Oh, of course, you are an oppressor. So, yes. I think it's a place, a very fine place to hang it there, because now we've, in the course of the program, we've tried to look at the problems. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll look at the solutions. Don't go away, the program is still The Conversation. Good afternoon.
right. Thank you very much for investing your precious time with us. The program is still The Conversation. You've heard from my distinguished panelists here, and you've heard the problems. And like I said, on this program, we don't just, talk about problems, because we know the problems. Now let's look at solutions. Gerald, let me start with you. How do we fix this? How do we deal with this issue, the issue of insecurity, the issue of impunity, and of course, how do we make Nigeria great? Because that's the only place that we can call our own, Nigeria. And it's the best country anywhere in the world.
There's no doubt about that. After a stint in New York, 5 years, I still return back.
Oh,
because there's nowhere like home.
That's true.
To the issue of solution, it's simple. One, we must be committed.
Okay.
We must be determined. Take the judicial system, for instance.
Okay.
It needs to be overhauled.
That's true.
We have eminent jurists who have retired. Constitute them into a committee and let them look at the entire system. I am telling you, we will come up with a solution.
That's true.
Look at the security sector. Equally very easy. You do what they call security sector reform.
Okay.
We have some very, very refined and seasoned retired generals that you can constitute into a committee and we'll look at the structure and see how it can be firmed up.
Okay.
Not just the military, the police, customs, and the rest.
Okay.
The fun is, once you decide to do whatever you want to do with a sincerity of purpose, it's a done deal.
Okay.
Before I end, I want to also state here, for instance, I've talked a lot about reward and punishment system. I've also mentioned impunity at its peak. I am the national leader of Okom Igala, one of the foremost socio-cultural organizations in Igala land. Recently, we had a situation where some guys got together, burnt the flag of a political party. These guys did not hide. They filmed themselves. And it's out there in the public domain. What has happened to them? We have a government. We have the police out there. Once this is not done, what do you think will happen soon?
They think
other people will take to it. So we
it.
must be conscious of some of these activities and deal with it with the seriousness it deserves. As long as that is done, trust me, sanity will begin to come back.
Thank you very much.
Until that is done, we will continue the trajectory.
It's going to be
which is not good for anyone.
Okay.
Thank you.
Solutions.
Lagos State is celebrated today because of the feats that's achieved in terms of development and all of that, revenue generation, all of that. But it's a deliberate plan of having a 50-year development plan that somebody set in place. So whoever comes in fits into that development plan. If you go to the US and all the political parties today are talking, if you're a Democrat, there's where you fit in. You don't come from outside. Republicans are there. Do we have I remember 2020, do we have a national development plan that covers all these sectors? In the next 50, 100 years, this is where we're headed to, man, that capture security. As I can talk to you, let's not talk about problem. Even within the military circle, there are inter-rivalry you have between these sectors there. So there's no unity here. Unless and until we come together and agree that, hey, this is where we want to go to here. If we're tackling and dealing with security, I agree. You mentioned the fifth columnist here. But I'm saying that, can we get to a place where we can come back and sit down and say, this is where we want to arrive in the next 10, 20 years? Until that is done, we're talking about foundation. Then it's still a tall order for us. Now, if you come back to, for instance, I'm Tozola from Adama from Goyo. And when I got to my place in the entire Northern Federation, if you look, there are 5 local governments there. And I can tell you wholeheartedly seated here today, there's nothing we have not seen in our studies, solutions to all these guys. Every studies are there in the shelves and libraries and most institutions in this country. But when I got there, you can't believe this. There's no higher institution, even in Ghana, other than secondary schools. And so till 2025, all you have are secondary school graduates in communities. We're talking about drugs. Who are these guys flying the tramals, the bitters that people are drinking in those communities? They've not gone to anywhere other than. So I'm saying educate the people, give them knowledge. these knowledge houses are the ones that will free these people. Unless we begin to do that, I mean, come back. How can you tell me you have a civilization that there are only secondary school graduates in those communities?
All right. Well, we can go on and on and on, but again, this is something that will continue, you know, because this is the second edition, and it's going to be this explosive. It's a no-holds-barred discussion. Everything is going to be discussed here, and the solutions will be proffered here. Well, that's how it's been on this side of the divide. We thank you very much for investing your precious time with us. One takeaway from here is that this country is ours. There is no other country like Nigeria. It is the best, but we must put our hands together. All hands must be on deck to agree that we want one country, we want a united country, and we want a beautiful country. Thank you very much. We're playing our part. We expect you to play your own part to make Nigeria great. Have a lovely day.
Conversation is a magazine program that delves into current affairs and global issues.
It essentially features in-depth interviews with influential figures,
with the principal aim of stirring up thought-provoking discussions and comprehensive analysis of complex topics.
The Conversation focuses on pressing global issues,
from current affairs to international politics,
global security to international peace and conflict resolutions,
science and technology to economics and politics.
It is the Conversation.
The Conversation seeks to provide viewers with a greater understanding of the world around them.
It is to stimulate dialogue and inspire viewers to think critically about the pressing issues of our time.
It is interactive,
engaging,
thought-provoking.
It is the Conversation. Join us every Monday at 2 p.m. on DSTV channel 392, Star Times channel 127, on Facebook at ASO Radio TV.